Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video here to highlight the massive spring sale that Games Planet is currently running right now. They've got a lot of great deals and definitely some stuff to check out. Steam keys on all of the titles that I'm going to mention in this video and a lot of great deals. We're going to highlight some super cheap deals first, game deals under $3, under $2, and then we'll get into some more expensive deals. For those of you with some disposable income, for those of you that are a little bit of a baller, we'll get to those games, but for those of you on a budget, I got you covered as well. Right off the bat, a classic, a game that I feel like is really well received these days. Mad Max, 87% off for $2.59. I mean, for that price point, Mad Max is a bargain. It's already a great game. I remember when the game came out, it came out on the same day as Metal Gear Solid 5, which was unfortunate. Like, people were obviously going to gravitate towards MGS5, but Mad Max ended up being a great game as well. Combat was really enjoyable, visuals were pretty solid, and I just remember the performance being so good. I think I was doing tests on the game at the time, and I remember running this game on a GTX 950 and getting a solid 60 frames per second. I forgot the exact settings and resolution that I used, but I just remember being blown away by this game at the time, 2015, mind you, by the performance. And at that time, we were getting some crappy PC versions. Don't forget, around that time, Batman Arkham Knight had just come out, and that was terrible at launch. Assassin's Creed Unity wasn't that long ago, and Mad Max coming out and running so well was just a nice, not a surprise, but a nice thing to happen. MGS5 also ran tremendously well. That Fox engine was dope as hell. But yeah, Mad Max was great, and combat was really enjoyable. Visuals, again, pretty decent, and worthwhile game to go through. For this price point, definitely a solid shout. Go check that out for yourself. SteamWorld Dig 2, $1.79 on this. I think this is a tremendous deal for SteamWorld Dig 2. A great action Metroidvania. However, didn't get as much traction as some of the other really well-received Metroidvanias. That's just kind of what happens when you're talking about a genre that has so many heavy hitters and so many marquee quality games that SteamWorld Dig 2 kind of got lost in the shuffle. But a great game nonetheless, $1.79, a great pickup for that as well. Definitely do recommend that. Shadow War Tactics Blades of the Shogun, $3.20. This is a game that I've gone to bat for quite a bit recently. The Edo period Japan setting is obviously fantastic. Highly recommended from that standpoint. But from a tactics game standpoint, it's a really well done game as well. Definitely recommended. And you've got, easier difficulties for those of you that aren't that great at tactics games. Not saying that I played it at easier difficulties. Maybe I did. Y'all don't have to judge me. But nonetheless, for those of you that just want to take in the scenery, I feel like that's a good shout. $3.20 for that is great. Shadow Warrior 2, $2.99 on this. Shadow Warrior 1 is also on sale at $2.99. Shadow Warrior 2 is awesome. I think it's a better game than Shadow Warrior 1. Stylish, action-heavy game, blood and guts, all that good stuff. Narratively, nothing to really write home about, but an enjoyable game all the way through. And for $2.99, I think Shadow Warrior 2 is a great pickup. Definitely recommend it at that price point. Next up, State of Mind, $1.65 on this. And this is a game that I go to bat for every now and again. I love, the trippy visual style of this game. I think from a visual aesthetic standpoint, this game is so different than a lot of games that come out that I always like to give it a shout. And for $1.65, I'm not saying you're going to have a blow-away experience with this, but I do think it's a solid game the whole way through. So definitely do check that out at $1.65. Astria Ascending, $2.99. This game has a lot of issues, but I'm sorry. You just look at that visual style, and if that doesn't draw you in, I don't know what will. It's certainly not worth, I think it came out at $40. That was way too much, but at $2.99, the game is very reminiscent of a Vanillaware game from an aesthetic standpoint, and Vanillaware games, unfortunately, we don't get them on PC, at least not native releases, which is a bummer, but Astria Ascending is not a great game, but it is a gorgeous game, and for $2.99, I do think it's a decent pickup. And a little game called Drug Dealer Simulator, you might have seen the Steam reviews recently, $1.77 on this. If you want to try it out for yourself, you want to have a more janky drug dealing experience, $1.77 on that. Obviously, a lot of controversy with everything going on between this game and Schedule 1, and seems to be some things are getting lost in the discussion of it. I did a video earlier today about it. You might want to go check that out, but I thought it was humorous that this is down to $1.77 if you do want to simulate some drug dealing. They do have a sequel out on this as well, so you can check that out as well. And then lastly, The Surge is $1.85. It's a throwback Souls-like, and I say throwback in that it's one of the older Souls-like when the genre was really picking up steam. This is, I want to say, like post Dark Souls 2 coming out, maybe Dark Souls 3. Actually, I think post Dark Souls 3. Yeah, it would be 2017, so after Dark Souls 3. But the genre didn't explode to the level that it is at now, where Elden Ring, I just feel like, took Souls-like to a new level. But still, Souls-like had a lot of momentum. Surge, certainly a janky one, but I like the setting of it, and the robo aspect to it was always going to draw me in. Definitely not a game worth $50-$60, but for $1.85, not a bad pickup. It's just, you know, when you're talking about these game deals at this price point, yes, they're super cheap, but the investment here is not the money for a lot of you guys. The investment here is the time, and, you know, how many of these games do you want to assess are worth your time? That's ultimately a subjective decision for you to come to a conclusion on. Mad Max, I think, is absolutely worth everybody's time. SteamWorld Dig 2, absolutely worth everybody's time. Shadow Tactics, again, Shadow Warrior 2. You know, when you get to games like State of Mind, Astria Ascending, even Drug Dealer Simulator and The Surge, those games I would be like, okay, have a conversation with yourself. Are these games worth your time? The top 4 games, again, I would say all of those games are well worth your time. Then the latter 4 games, you know, they're interesting titles. Astria Ascending, a gorgeous game. Drug Dealer Simulator in the news right now. State of Mind, again, visual style is super trippy, and The Surge, a janky Souls-like game, but you know, assess whether or not you want to invest the time into it. All right, moving on from that now, it's time for the games for the ballers, you know. We had the games for those of you that only got a couple bucks to your name. How about Tales of Arise, $8.75? Yeah, now we're talking about the people that have been doing good in the stock market. Now we're talking about the crypto bros out there that can afford $8.75. But, yeah, Tales of Arise is a great JRPG. As far as the Tales of games go, I don't think it's at the level, as far as the characters go, as some of the best Tales of games. Like, Vesperia, without a doubt, had a better main character than any of the characters in Arise. Berseria as well. Abyss had a way better cast. But then you compare this game to, like, the Zestrias of the world, and it's way above that. The visuals are great. The combat is really good. Soundtrack is solid. Overall, very much a worthwhile JRPG to go into, and if you're trying to get into the Tales of franchise, the games aren't really connected to one another. So Arise is the game I would probably recommend, just because visually it's at such a high level. $8.75, a great pickup on that. Lords of the Fallen is $17.99. I liked Lords of the Fallen from a premise standpoint in terms of some of the mechanics that they introduced, like the realm aspect to it. Souls-like, they're just so many of them that you need some sort of gimmick, or you don't need some sort of gimmick, but it certainly helps, at least for me, to be like, okay, this is what makes this game stand out. And Lords of the Fallen had that with the realm shtick. I know not everybody was super into that, but I thought it was a pretty good game. Definitely not worth $60. Definitely at a lower level than Lies of P. And at this point, probably First Berserker Kazan as well. But I still thought it was a decent little game. And I'm not the guy to go to talk about, you know, the meticulous breakdown of Souls-like games from a mechanic standpoint and the nuances. But, you know, for what it's worth, I had a decent time with it for the time that I did spend on it. I believe there's a sequel in development, so be on the lookout for that as well. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot Legendary Edition, 78% off for $25.99. Now look, this is a great deal in terms of the content that's here. You get DBZ Kakarot, you get the Season Pass 1 and 2, and Season Pass 2 is still going for a hefty price point. I want to see, do they have Season Pass 2 on sale? I don't think they do for Kakarot. Let me just pull that up. Let's look up Season Pass 2. They do have Season Pass 2, but it's $17. Season Pass 2 alone is $17, and this Legendary Edition with Season Pass 1 and 2, and the base game is $26, so you know, it is what it is, but obviously they're gonna come out with the Daima DLC, so at some point, probably 3-4 years down the line, you'll be able to pick up the DBZ Kakarot Complete Edition, or whatever they decide to call it. That'll include the Daima Edition, and honestly, they might even do more DLC after that. The fact we haven't had a Broly DLC, I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get a Broly DLC at some point. That just seems like a license to print money, but nonetheless, the content that's here for $26 is great, and I would definitely recommend it. Like, I had a great time with DBZ Kakarot, so definitely give that a shout. Granblue Fantasy Relink, 59% off for $24.59. I didn't even know that we finally had this game on these other e-tailers, but $24.59 is a great price point on this. Loved Granblue Fantasy Relink. It's one of those games that's forgotten about from early 2024, but it ended up being a pretty solid game, and it was kind of a wild period for JRPGs, that early portion of 24 where we had Granblue Fantasy Relink, into Persona 3 Reload, into Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. It was just insanity, and JRPG bros were eating good, but yeah, ended up enjoying the game. Narratively, it's very disjointed and whatnot. Like, I'm not super into Granblue like that, but nonetheless, $24.59, good price on that. And lastly, Hogwarts Legacy, $13.75 on that. It's Hogwarts Legacy, you know, it's a good game. I'm not a Harry Potter guy. I still had a great time with it. Good open world action RPG. Definitely for that price point, no brainer there. But that'll do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals across the board. We got some cheaper games. We got some more expensive games. Some for everyone here, but they've got a lot more deals on top of everything I mentioned in this video. Maybe I'll do another video highlighting some of the good stuff, but that'll do it for me. Your thoughts down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.